Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. We're going to be looking at whether AI can actually spark a revolution in science.
A big question.
It is a really big question, and we're going to be drawing on an economist video that we watched, some research papers that frankly made my head spin a little bit, and some real-world stories too that are going to have you thinking, is this sci-fi or is this really happening?
Yeah, it's a question with huge implications. I mean, are we on the cusp of this, golden age of discovery, all driven by AI, or is this just, another wave of hype? We got to examine the evidence.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought a good place to start would be with this story that I read about Andy Davies, who's a former British soldier. He was diagnosed with this condition called idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis.
IPF.
Yeah, IPF, it's a lung condition.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. And, the prognosis isn't great. There's no known cure.
It is a devastating disease. But Andy's story is a really interesting one because it kind of highlights how AI is changing the game when it comes to drug discovery. So there's this company called In Silico Medicine, and they're using AI to develop a new treatment for IPF.
Wait, hold on. They're developing a new treatment using AI. What's the catch?
Well, the catch is that there isn't one, at least not in the traditional sense. I mean, think about it. They developed this treatment in just 18 months at a cost of $3 million.
18 months?
Yeah.
And $3 million. That's crazy.
I know, right?
Compared to the traditional way of doing things.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, you're talking about over a decade and billions of dollars with traditional drug development.
Wow.
It's a huge difference.
It is massive difference. So how is AI actually doing this? I mean, is it like we've got some supercomputer that's just like spitting out these miracle cures?
Yeah. Well, it's a little more nuanced than that. AI isn't replacing scientists. It's more like it's amplifying their abilities. So I think a good analogy here would be like, imagine traditional drug discovery is like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Right.
AI is like having a metal detector that tells you exactly where that needle is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in Silico's AI, it can analyze these huge data sets to find these promising drug candidates, and it just cuts down on all that time and all that cost that goes into drug development normally.
Okay. That makes sense. But is this just like a one-off? Is AI being used in other areas of science?
Oh, no, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
You're seeing AI pop up everywhere, from analyzing protein structures to making microscopes even better. You're familiar with Google DeepMind's AlphaFold, right?
Yeah.
It's been making a lot of noise because it can predict protein shapes with crazy accuracy.
Yeah, I read about that. So what's the big deal about protein shapes? Why should I care?
Well, if you understand a protein's shape, it's like having the blueprint to what it does, to its function. It's super important if you want to design drugs, if you want to understand diseases.
Right.
I mean, it's basically like unlocking the secrets of life itself.
Wow.
I know. And AlphaFold, it's already helped researchers to figure out this one protein that's really important for the malaria parasite. And, it could lead to new treatments.
Wow. So AI is like giving scientists superpowers to understand the building blocks of life.
Pretty much. And it gets even cooler. They're using AI to make images from electron microscopes even better, like way better. They're getting super resolution images, like details that were never possible before.
So wait, it's not just making things bigger, it's making the images themselves clearer.
Yeah, it's like AI can look at a blurry picture and fill in the blanks. It can recognize patterns. It's analyzed tons of similar images, and it can just extrapolate the missing information and create these really detailed pictures.
Wow.
And you see this being used in lots of areas, material science, biology.
So we've got AI finding new drugs, it's predicting protein structures, it's giving us superpowers with microscopes. What else is on the AI menu of breakthroughs in science?
Well, imagine if you could have AI that could go through millions of research papers and connect the dots, right?
Yeah.
Generate new hypotheses that humans might have missed.
Yeah.
Well, they're already doing that. It's called literature-based discovery. It's like having a research assistant that never has to sleep.
So instead of researchers being in the library for years, AI can just kind of do that work for them.
Exactly. AI can analyze a huge amount of scientific literature. It can identify patterns and connections, and even come up with new ideas for research that could lead to discoveries that might have taken humans, decades to make on their own.
It's like a fast track to breakthroughs.
Yeah, kind of.
This is starting to sound a lot like that sci-fi future we were talking about at the start.
I know, right? And there's more. Scientists are using AI to analyze animal communication.
Wait, what? Like Dr. Dolittle?
Not quite talking to animals yet, but we're getting closer to understanding them. AI is helping us to decode all those complex vocalizations they use.
Okay.
For example, researchers, They used AI, and they figured out that wolves howl with different accents.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, suggesting that they have regional dialects, just like humans.
So we're learning about wolf culture through AI.
Exactly.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is, it is. And they're even using AI to try to figure out sperm whale communication.
Sperm whales.
Yeah, they had these crazy complex vocalizations.
Yeah, they're very smart.
Yeah, and AI is helping researchers to identify patterns and maybe even grammatical structures in those clicks and whistles.
Wow. So are we going to be having conversations with whales anytime soon?
Well, conversations might be a bit of a stretch,
Okay.
but AI is definitely giving us a peek into the minds of these creatures.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe one day we will be able to understand their language and all those mysteries of the deep.
I'm definitely getting caught up in all this AI excitement. It feels like we're about to unlock this whole other level of understanding of the world.
It really is a transformative time in science, but before we get too carried away, we do need to think about some of the downsides of this whole AI revolution.
Yeah, it can't all be good. So what are some of the things we need to watch out for?
Well, one of the concerns is that AI could be misused,
Okay.
especially when it comes to things like fraudulent research. There have been cases of people submitting AI-generated text to scientific journals.
Really?
Yeah, and it raises questions about the integrity of research in this age of AI.
Wait, people are trying to pass off AI writing as their own scientific work.
Unfortunately, yeah, it has happened, and it really highlights how important it is to create safeguards and ethical guidelines to make sure AI isn't being used for bad stuff in the scientific community.
That makes sense. So it's not just about the technology, it's how we use it. We've talked about the amazing stuff AI can do in science, but also the ways it could be misused. Seems like we've got a lot to think about.
We do, we do.
Yeah.
So I think a good question to ask is, can AI actually usher in a new scientific revolution, or is this just hype?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is, and to get to the bottom of that, we need to dig a little deeper.
All right, listeners, buckle up. We're just getting started. Welcome back to our deep dive into the AI revolution happening in science. Before the break, we were talking about all the cool things AI is doing, like finding new drugs and figuring out how whales talk. But now I want to ask, can AI really create a whole new scientific revolution?
Yeah, that's a question everyone's asking, scientists, tech people, everyone. There's a lot of excitement, but also some healthy skepticism. We've seen some really impressive things. But can AI really make those big aha discoveries, the ones that change how we understand the world?
Yeah, like when I think scientific revolution, I think headlines like AI cures cancer or robot scientist discovers a new element. Are we talking about that level of change?
Well, those headlines might be a few years away, but the potential is there. I think the real revolution might not be about single huge discoveries, but about a total change in how science is done. Imagine AI becoming the ultimate research partner, making every part of the process faster, from coming up with ideas to running experiments to analyzing data.
So, like, AI isn't replacing scientists. It's like a superpowered assistant that helps us do what we do best.
Exactly. AI can do the hard work, going through tons of data, finding patterns we might miss, even running experiments all day and night. That frees up scientists to focus on the big picture, the creative stuff, the why behind the what.
Yeah, that makes sense. AI can crunch the numbers, but it still takes a human to understand them, to see the connections and what it all means.
Right, and science isn't just about data and algorithms. It's about curiosity, intuition, those flashes of inspiration that lead to new ideas. And those are things that are unique to humans.
One thing that was really interesting in the research we did was this idea that AI could actually help fix some of the problems in science today, like that reproducibility crisis we talked about.
It's kind of ironic, isn't it? This new tech might help solve a problem that's caused by humans making mistakes. AI research can be more easily reproduced. Robots don't mess with data, they don't let ego get in the way, and they don't get tired of repeating experiments to make sure the results are right.
It's like having a built-in fact checker for every experiment. That could be huge for making people trust science again, which, let's face it, has taken some hits lately.
Exactly. AI could help bring back that strictness and reliability that's so important for science to move forward and to get people to believe in it again.
Okay, so there's potential for faster discoveries, fixing problems in the system, even making science cool again, maybe. But what about those robot scientists? Are they coming for our jobs?
Ah, yes, the robot takeover. That work Andy Cooper is doing at the University of Liverpool is a good example. He created these robot chemists that can do hundreds of experiments all on their own, controlled by AI.
So it's like having super efficient PhD students working 24/7, never needing a coffee break?
Yeah, something like that. And the impact could be huge. They're not just speeding things up, they're opening up whole new ways to do research.
How so?
Well, imagine a robot trying to find a new catalyst for clean energy. It could run thousands of experiments, testing different combinations of elements and conditions, analyzing everything and learning from the data. Humans just can't do that kind of massive experimentation.
So they could find things we wouldn't even think to look for.
Exactly. And they're not limited by our preconceptions or biases. They can explore in ways we just can't.
Okay, robot scientists are pushing the limits of what's possible in the lab. But what about human scientists? Are we going to be out of a job?
A lot of people are asking that, but I think it's the wrong question. It's not humans versus robots, it's humans working with robots.
So more like teamwork.
Exactly. Think of robot scientists as our partners, our assistants, freeing us from the boring stuff so we can focus on the really interesting and creative parts of science.
Yeah, it's not about being replaced. It's about having new tools that make us better.
Right. And don't forget, science is a human endeavor. It's driven by our curiosity, our passion to understand the world, and our desire to make things better. Robots can't copy that.
So the future of science is exciting, but a little bit robot-y.
It's definitely exciting. There are challenges, for sure, but I believe the good things about AI outweigh the risks.
Okay, but before we get too lost in all the potential, I think we need to bring this back down to earth to the individual listener. What does this all mean for you, the person listening right now?
That's a great point. It's easy to get lost in the big picture, but the real impact of AI will be felt in people's everyday lives. So let's talk about how this revolution might actually affect you.
All right, listeners, get ready for the personal deep dive. Now things are getting real. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've really been exploring how AI is shaking things up in science, from those robot chemists to the possibility of completely revolutionary discoveries.
Yeah, we've talked about the big picture, all the possibilities and the challenges too, but I think now let's focus on some areas where AI could make a real difference, and soon.
Okay, so where should we start? What fields are about to be totally transformed?
One that I'm really excited about is personalized medicine. Like, imagine treatments that are designed just for you, based on your genes, your lifestyle, all those unique things about you.
So not a one-size-fits-all approach anymore.
Exactly. AI could analyze tons of data about you, your DNA, your medical history, your daily habits, and create a treatment that's perfect for you so it works best and you have fewer side effects.
That sounds straight out of sci-fi,
Yeah,
but it's really happening now.
it's still early, but yeah, the potential is huge. Like, AI is already being used to figure out who will respond well to certain cancer treatments so they don't get unnecessary side effects and they have a better chance of beating it.
That's amazing. So it's helping doctors make better choices and giving patients a fighting chance against these tough diseases.
That's the idea. And as AI gets even smarter about analyzing that complex biological data, we'll see even more personalized ways to treat all sorts of things: heart disease, diabetes, even Alzheimer's.
Okay, personalized medicine is definitely at the top of my list. What else is coming up?
Well, we've talked about climate change, and AI could have a big role there too. It could help us find more efficient ways to use renewable energy, cut down on our energy use, and even suck carbon right out of the atmosphere.
So instead of just talking about the problem, AI could actually help us fix it.
Exactly. It could help us make clean energy cheaper and easier to get, so we don't have to rely on fossil fuels so much,
Yeah,
and maybe even undo some of the damage we've already done,
that's good to hear. We definitely need all the help we can get with that one.
for sure. And don't forget about space exploration. Think about AI-powered robots exploring distant planets and moons, collecting data, and doing experiments that would be impossible for humans.
Like sending our robot buddies out there to do the exploring for us? Count me in. But seriously, what kind of amazing things could they do out there?
Okay, picture this. A robot geologist with all these AI-powered sensors and tools landing on Mars and looking for signs of life, even ancient life. He could analyze rocks, find tiny amounts of organic molecules, even drill into the ground for samples. That kind of exploration could completely change our understanding of Mars and maybe even tell us if we're alone in the universe.
Whoa, it makes you realize how much we still don't know about our own solar system, let alone what's beyond that.
And that's what makes it so exciting. AI is giving us the tools to explore the unknown, push the boundaries of knowledge, and find things we never even thought possible.
It's like we're pioneers with AI as our guide and our map. But all those ethical questions we talked about keep coming back. How do we make sure all this power is used for good?
That's the tough question, and there's no easy answer. Scientists, policymakers, everyone really needs to work together to make sure AI is developed and used in a way that benefits all of humanity.
So, what can we as individuals do to be responsible with this powerful technology?
Stay informed, stay curious, read about AI, learn what it can do, what it can't do, and join the conversation about the ethics of it all. Don't just accept everything you see and hear. Think critically
Hmm.
and speak up. Support people and organizations working to make sure AI is used for good.
It strikes me that this AI revolution isn't just about the tech itself, it's about us and what kind of future we want.
You're absolutely right. It's a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It's our choice how we use it.
So, what does all this mean for our listeners? What can they do to be ready for this future that's changing so fast?
Never stop learning. Technology is always changing, so stay curious and keep picking up new skills. Don't be afraid to try new things and explore new areas.
And don't be intimidated by AI. It's a tool to help us, not replace us. Embrace the possibilities, but keep those potential problems in mind, too.
And stay engaged. This is happening right now, and it's shaping the world we live in. Your voice matters, so make sure you use it.
Well said. That's a great note to wrap up on. This deep dive has been amazing, really exploring how AI could change science forever and maybe even change what it means to be human.
It's been great exploring this with you. And remember, the future isn't something that just happens. It's something we make together.
So be curious, be engaged, and let's create a future where AI and human ingenuity work together to make a better world for everyone. And that's a wrap for this deep dive. Thanks for joining.